Sure, abuti ona hle.
You will note that, and this is evident from the documentation that is submitted, that the original budget was 68,104. An additional 28,995 was received. This budget also includes a 10% retention, and the total expenditure amounted to 105. So what we did was we continued to achieve what we were supposed to achieve on that particular year, but because of the extra 28,995 that we received, we had then decided to bring forth or to expedite the waste management equipment to establish a functional dumping site for that particular year. Hence, it looks as if we had 105 that we spent. It's only because we brought forward expenditure that was supposed to be incurred in the following year. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I will respond on prohibited awards. Indeed, the municipality confirms that it does not knowingly appoint individuals already in its service. However, Auditor General, through its CAST system, identified potential conflicts of interest, flagging individuals linked to municipal employees. For an example, former councillors and former officials may have registered a company that now conducts business with the municipality. These instances as a municipality are difficult to detect independently because we rely on self-declarations. The release may inadvertently result in contraventions of Section 112, 1J of MFMA and Supply Chain Management Regulation. Now, as a municipality, we've got procedures that we intend to put in place that are independent verification procedures, wherein we intend to implement new internal processes for verifying declared interest and conducting due diligence. Another issue that we want to do as a municipality is that we want to do public awareness campaign, wherein, like, in the next coming local government elections, these councillors, they'll be going off the system. Now, as they go off the system, we should ensure that we do a comprehensive campaign to educate employees and councillors on conflict of interest regulations, ensuring compliance and transparency.
The issue where the question was around whether in 23. Expenditure, which comes to about on the 3.2 billion, about 1.3 billion account amount reconciled. Very clear that we have nothing to hide. We are telling you whatever is there can be investigated. when you look at, for example, unauthorized expenditure, all of our unauthorized expenditure relates to impairment and depreciation, which was not correctly accounted for in the previous years. And what we are saying is that there is no loss for the municipality, but we don't want to make a global recommendation. We want those who feel like there's something that could have been done to institute consequence management. They must come and help us do this. And we are amenable to whatever recommendations they come with. The last one will be your fruitless and wasteful expenditure, which is around 83 million, which relates mainly to interest from Auto General, the interest from Telcom, Eskom, and then interest from SARS. Those we have already also submitted the report to National Treasury to try and say, let us see whether we can get to an amicable solution together. Thank you.
Accounting entries.
Thank you. Colleagues, when you respond, you must also bear in mind that we have a limited time. And one thing that we must also indicate is that when we respond, can we please try to give a true reflection of exactly what is happening? Because when we ask some of the questions, it's because of the concerns that were raised by AG. And there's a response that you have given to us, but it really doesn't mesh with what the AG has just said. When you look at the issue of more budget spent, but fewer targets achieved, and you look at the response of the AG said, management spent money on the wastewater project work that was not planned, number one. Secondly, resulting in them exiting the budget, whereas the outcome of the planned target remained unchanged. What does that mean? You spend money on something that you did not budget for, however, the result is still not changed. That is the response of the AG on that matter. Can you please briefly explain as to what happened to the issue of wastewater project?
No, as we have indicated, we're talking about two things here. So there's a query on waste management project. Sorry. The query on the waste management project is the one that talks to expenditure on laboratory. Let me just check the expenditure on the laboratory. And then there's, so we're talking two different issues. The one that I'm talking to is, can I see that? Yeah, so I spoke to the one that talks to overperformance.
Okay, now that you are saying we are talking about two issues, let's talk about this one that I'm talking about, where you have spent money on the wastewater work, which was not planned.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I think if you can check your notes, it should be written waste management instead of not water waste. We had highlighted when we started that we are not a water authority. I think it's written like that in your documents over there. But however, the one that you're talking about, perhaps it's on the water indigent support grant of 17.7 million.
Can I just assist?
Okay, Chair, thank you.
Sorry, the question to you was more budget spent but fewer targets achieved. You responded, the disparity between the budget spent, which is around 5% of the original allocation and targets, 65% for basic service delivery, infrastructure, and you go on and then you say the additional funds, this is lower down, the additional funds were used to purchase waste management equipment to establish functional dumping sites, a critical intervention for service delivery, while originally not planned for the financial year. Okay, then you say approval was obtained to fast track the project. Now the AG is saying they penalized you because the issue raised by the audit team highlighting the incomplete. Okay, let me go back. the Auditor General says management spent money on the wastewater project, work was not planned, resulting in them exceeding the budget, whereas the outcomes of the planned target remained unchanged. So between the two, you say you use money for the waste management project. Now, in the course of all of this, the Auditor General's report is saying the project, which is the wastewater management project, that part of the money went to, was not planned. But whilst you did that, then they are arguing that the planned project for that year were not completed. In other words, you didn't meet the target on what you planned. You did a lot, and you did what was not planned, and even sought a new approval for it. But they are arguing that on what you had actually planned, you actually didn't spend all the money there. So you have now got a dispute of facts between you and the AG. And as you know, if you are accused and you've got a magistrate, we'll take the side of the magistrate. So if we still disagree, we leave it at the fact that we and you are disagreeing because the Auditor General hasn't changed their mind on your view on the comment.
Thank you, Chair. Do you want to respond?
Chair, I think we do agree with what you're saying now. What we're saying is that we did spend the 105 is because of an unplanned project, which was planned for the following year. But because it was easier to implement because we were just buying waste management equipment, we did that. They requested an approval to buy that waste management equipment. The second part of it is that, yes, the target that were submitted for that particular year, they were not all achieved. That we agree.
That's the issue. What we're basically saying, the Auditor General is not wrong. So you explaining the thing that the Auditor General has still disputed after we explained to us. In other words, you should actually not have said this. You should have said to us, yes, the Auditor General is correct. We had more money and we spent on the project that we wanted to fast track. We didn't finish what we needed to do, so we must plead guilty there. Because it's a matter of accounting that we're dealing with. We're not dealing with a question of whether you did well or you didn't do well. You can buy the whole country with the amount of money you get. When you do so, we say, well done, you bought the whole country. But actually, you were supposed to buy 2 houses, you didn't buy them. So it doesn't matter how well you did. The argument is whether was this what was planned, and the issue is no. And your answer should not have said that, you are fine. The Auditor General still insists, and we agree, we understand what the Auditor General is saying. He just wanted you to concede that this is something that you can't do again in the future because this is the problem.
Thank you, Chair. I will then go to Honorable. You'll come back. Okay. Honorable Member.
Hello? Yeah, that's it. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity. And thank you to the Mafeking Municipality for reporting to us today. My questions, well, just a quick comment and then a question that's fairly simple. First of all, well done on getting your collection rate up into the 60s. But obviously, it's going to need to get quite a lot higher because you're only really sustainable sort of once you hit the 80% or whatever. Once you get above about 83, 84%. So I hope you do have a plan to get there and that you're working towards that. And then the second thing is actually just about the audit outcomes over the last 5 years, which in every instance has been qualified. What is your plan to get yourself out of the qualification zone and to improve your audit outcomes? And can you make any undertakings to us? So if we return here in 2 years' time, what could we expect from you as far as an audit outcome? Would we still see qualified, or do you have a plan to sort that out? Thank you.
The Executive Mayor and the team.
Thank you, Chair. So we are of the view that we should actually get to an 80% collection rate. And this is simple. We had an engagement with Melinda. She said, I'm acknowledging you, ma'am, that they are going to help us because 90% of the people who own, so we have 3 categories. We have households. 90% of the people who are staying in our houses are government employees. As much as they want to invoke 216, there must be a way of creating another form of 216 to make people pay us, because we cannot make a lot of noise when the municipality is owing and we are quiet when the municipality is being owed. We have also indicated that out of the gross debt that we have, 900 million of those debts are from government departments and government entities. As much as when we are not paying people, 216 is rushed to, that must also be invoked on our behalf. We have now the business community, which through LED we convened with them, and we have asked them to actually make payments to us, and they've agreed. In actual fact, the only thing they were querying was the fact that our rates and taxes were not cost effective, and we've changed them. Unqualified audit opinion. We had, in the previous year, 8 paragraphs that gave us an unqualified audit opinion. We are sure that we have dealt with 5. That is still to be attested by the Auditor General in the current year. We have 3 that I would not want to discuss here, so that I don't influence Auditor General or I don't. Yes. But we have 3 audit opinions that we still foresee that they will be coming in the current year, mainly because the municipal manager Ditsobotla, mainly the estimates, the distribution losses, and what's the other one? Yeah, those are the only 3 ones that we have not yet said we are going to deal with. But in the following year, because we have already started with correct reading in houses, we are sure that we will attain an unqualified opinion, not this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Bila.
Thank you so much, the chairperson of the session. My apology, the carpet and myself, we are not friends. So I'm struggling. And thanks to the presentation by the Mahikeng Municipality, the AG noted that the municipality takes an average of 76 days to pay the creditors, well above the 30-day requirement, and that 99% of municipal debt is unlikely to be recovered. And this raises material uncertainty about financial sustainability. I just want to check if there is improvement on this practice. If no, are there measures that are put in place in order to improve on this practice? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Municipality.
Thank you, Chair. Ma'am, we do not have any creditors. Thanks a lot. If there's anyone who's disputing or who's saying that we owe them, we are more than happy to entertain that, and we will report that we do not have creditors. We had one person who was making a lot of noise that we owe them, but they did not have any contract with the municipality. We've never taken any tender on that. We've never given them a letter of appointment. They do not have any SLA, and I refused to pay it. And I said at National Treasury that if you give me an instruction to pay it, I will pay it, so that when it becomes an irregular expenditure without following any process, I can point that this is an instruction from one of the people from National Treasury. But that's the only person who really made a lot of noise that we owe them. The debt that is bringing uncertainty onto the going concern of the municipality. It is true, but I've already indicated that 90% of the people who owe us are government employees. Government is currently giving people housing allowances. We say direct that to us. Let us make the municipality viable. Give us the money. You have the means to give us the money. And the interventions, we are also very considerate. We have decided to give people 60% debt write-off so that we can recoup at least 40%, invest it, and get money in a form of interest. But our people did not play onto that part as much as we anticipated. Hence, we extended it. But we're doing something, and we are sure with the intervention of Melinda, the MEC, that we will get it right. We're going to get our money. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Maduna.
Oh, no, thank you.
Sure, abuti ownership.